everyone, this is Warren with KLGadgetGuy, and today I'm at the Ford Roadshow in Utama, and we have Pete here from Ford showing us once again the Ford Mondeo safety and its features. So Pete, tell me what you're doing in Ford.
Sure, so I'm Ford's Director of Automotive Sustainability, Environment, and Safety Engineering for Asia Pacific. So trying to make sure our vehicles meet all safety and environmental requirements for Asia Pacific.
Okay, cool. So what are you going to show me today about the Ford Mondeo, since that last time we have actually driven the car and we've seen the great technology system on board. So what are you going to show us this time?
Sure, so what we thought we would do is we'll do a vehicle walk around, talk about some of the technologies that are available on the Mondeo, and then do some demonstrations on some of those technologies, and we'll go from there. So
yeah.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah, sure, that looks okay. Right, let's go.
All right, so the first thing I'll talk about is our blind spot indicator system.
Okay.
This is a system that we've got sensors on the side of the vehicle, and it provides indicator to the driver in the side view mirror if there's a vehicle in their blind spot. You know, one of the accidents that happens fairly frequently is a vehicle that or the driver can't see a vehicle in their blind spot, and by having that indicator in the side view mirror, it's just an easy glance. And what I would say is, you know, with a vehicle with this, once you get used to it, it's really intuitive to know that there's a vehicle in your blind spot with this system.
Ah, okay, right. That's a really cool safety feature. So, which means if I happen not to see another vehicle coming near me, it will actually indicate that there's actually a car just right beside me before I knock into each other, right?
That's absolutely right, without having to turn all the way around and look over your shoulder. So vehicles that are in your blind spot are much more visible.
Okay, cool.
Another feature we talk about is lane keeping assist and lane departure warning. That we have a camera mounted up here behind the rear view mirror, and that camera is used to look at the lines on the road, and if the vehicle begins to veer off outside the lines on the road, it gives a sensor through the steering wheel. It vibrates the steering wheel to notify the driver that they may not be in their lanes. It deactivates when you use your turn signal, so that if you are changing lanes on a road, it's not going to vibrate every time you use it. And then if you continue veering off the road without your turn signal, it'll do a torque steer and try to steer you back into your lane. So it's a great tool to help keep people in their lanes.
Wow, that's really amazing. This is one of the first kind of technology I've heard on Ford's vehicles, right? So, you know, it feels like you are driving on it and suddenly you just steer to another lane, it just pulls you back to the right lane.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Right. That's
particularly when drivers are drowsy, for example. You're tired. You've been up all day. You know, you're driving home at the end of the night. Sometimes people get a little drowsy. This really actually helps the driver stay in their lane. We also have an algorithm that senses if a driver continues to do that. We call it drowsy driver warning. And so we're able to look at the algorithms and see if it continues. Maybe we notify the driver that, hey, you know, you might need to pull over and take a rest, get a cup of coffee, something like that, to waken yourself up.
Okay, so it's by time, or it senses the driver's driving attitude.
Yeah, the driving attitude. So what happens when you're drowsy, you know, and you drift off the road, and then you wake up, you jerk back on the road. And so when that happens a couple times, we use that algorithm to notify the driver with a coffee cup that says, you know, maybe you're drowsy. Pull over, get a cup of coffee, freshen yourself up before you get back on the road. All right, the car also comes with a radar-based system mounted. There's nothing to show you here, but the radar-based system is used for adaptive cruise control. And with adaptive cruise control, you can set a distance so that you can maintain a speed and a distance from cars in front of you. So one of the more frustrating things that we've heard from our customers is with normal cruise control, the vehicles, you have to apply your brake when the vehicle slows down in front of you, and then re-engage in cruise control when they speed up or you pass them. With adaptive cruise control, the vehicle will automatically do that. So it'll automatically slow down if you're cruising down the road at 110 kilometers an hour, and there's a vehicle doing 90 kilometers in front of you. The vehicle will slow down for that vehicle.
So roughly, what is the distance of the detection?
You can adjust the distance.
Oh, okay.
To be comfortable for what you're comfortable with.
All right, so that's why it's called adaptive.
Absolutely.
On breezes. All right.
Yes, cool. Absolutely. So this is a seatbelt that's actually already been inflated. Normally in the vehicle, it would look just like a normal seatbelt.
Okay.
And what the seatbelt does is, when the vehicle's in an accident, it inflates. And it's particularly helpful for children and elderly. Now, what that does is it spreads the crash forces over a much broader area. So children, because they're smaller, the seatbelt is focused on a very small area, right? And by inflating, it's actually a much broader area. And same with the elderly. As we age,
it feels more comfortable. Like there's the pre-tension that when you feel the force, you're stuck on the seat, but then it feels more comfortable. It doesn't strain you, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely right. And then same with the elderly. Elderly, our bones tend to get more brittle as we get older. This will help spread those forces over a broader area. Again, reducing the injuries in the case of an accident. The other thing we've heard is it is more comfortable. We use silk seat belts for this, and we found that children actually think it's more comfortable than a normal seat belt, which encourages them to use seat belts when they may not have done so otherwise.
Okay, wow, that's something that we never know that is inside the seatbelt of the car. We have always kind of neglected what seatbelts actually do. We just know that it keeps on holding us back, but we never thought of something that is available in Ford's cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And we put this in the rear seat. Obviously, the front seat of the vehicles is equipped with multiple airbags, but the rear seat, this is a good tool that we can use to help protect occupants in the rear seat.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So those are some of the technologies that we're putting into the vehicles. What we thought we would then do is talk a little bit about the design tools that we use to design our vehicles. And so these are a couple suits that our engineers actually wear. And when we design our vehicles, we would want to design them for the people that are going to use our vehicles. We've got a pregnancy suit, or an empathy suit, we call it. Our engineers use this to see what it feels like for pregnant women to get in and out of our vehicles. And make sure our seat belts are adjusted to be below the belly and a good distance to the steering wheel
because this affects the driving experience as well.
Absolutely, absolutely right.
Okay.
And then this suit is our third age suit. It adds about 30 years to the engineer. And so what it does is as we age, our touch gets a little less, our ability to stretch our arms, move our fingers, move our joints, turn our necks, all decreases as we age. This allows our engineers to simulate what it feels like to be maybe 30 years older than we normally would. And again, making sure we're designing our vehicles for pregnant women, for the children that are going to use our vehicles, for the elderly that are going to be using our vehicles, so that the vehicle is ergonomically friendly for those customers.
Understood. Great.
So these are some of the tools we use to design our vehicles. And then we're taking all of those technologies, and we're going to use those technologies to build on. And so as we go from where we're at today with lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, we're going to take those technologies and expand them as we go into the future and move into more semi-autonomous vehicles. And so when you start pairing a camera with a radar system, with a LiDAR system, ultrasonic sensors, you suddenly have very intelligent vehicles that can pull out of a parking spot with the driver standing next to the vehicle with power steering, power ignition systems. The vehicle is able to pull out from parking spots without a driver actually being in the vehicle. And that will then lead into connected vehicles, right, where you have vehicles talking to each other. Dedicated short-range communication systems where maybe you have vehicles 2 or 3 kilometers down the road and there's an accident or there's a slippery spot on the road. The vehicles can then talk to each other and warn each other that, hey, get ready to slow down, in 2 kilometers there's going to be a slippery spot.
That's really smart. That's a very smart idea, and I think that's really the future of automobile safety that I think Ford is really trying to put into its current and future line of vehicles. I'm very sure of that, and it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time. Like once you have these technologies on the vehicle, then turning it over to the innovative engineers to develop all the great ideas that help solve the problems that we're trying to address. So, yeah, it's an exciting time to be part of the automobile.
All right, cool.
All right, so that's what we wanted to show you today. Are there any questions specifically you'd like to talk through, or
what is the future that you think that it will help Ford to enhance road safety and the driver safety?
No, it's a really good question. The nice thing, the approach we've taken at Ford is using the Sync system. We've launched with Sync. We're now into Sync 2, and we're getting ready to launch Sync 3 next year. And those systems rely on brought-in devices. We know that phones get upgraded every 2 to 3 years. Wearables are brand new right now. 2 or 3 years down the road, there's going to be new wearables that we haven't thought of. The Sync system is able to adapt. It relies on those brought-in devices, so we don't have to necessarily update a vehicle every 2 or 3 years. That's already in use, right? And so the key is really keeping our customers connected when they're outside the vehicle to inside the vehicle, but doing it in a safe way. And so with the Sync system, we're able to use voice commands to access the phone, for example, when I get in the car in the evening and ready to drive home, I say, call Shelly. And so my phone, the car will call my wife, Shelly, and I don't have to dial, I don't have to take my hands off the wheel, I don't have to take my eyes off the road. I can stay focused on the driving task, but at the same time, do the things I need to do and staying connected. So you're absolutely right, wearables will be a key part of kind of keeping our customers connected, just like they would outside.
Okay, cool. So one more thing. No, I personally driven the 2015 Ford Mondeo last time, and I realized that the local variant in Malaysia is not really equipped with the full version of Sync. So in the near future, do you actually provide upgrades to current models? Like, because I know there could be some there could be localization stuff on the car software that you haven't done so. So will you be doing such upgrades to the car in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're launching Sync 3 next year with a more intuitive screen. So for example, just like your iPad, you can pinch, you can expand, you can do all these normal things. With Sync 3 launched next year, it's going to provide some of that, more intuitive capability that you and I are used to with all our other devices. Absolutely, that's coming next year.
All right, cool. I think that pretty much sums up the questions that I'll be asking you for today. And I think it's really great to know that Ford has such great safety features on hand on most of your vehicle lines, I believe. Right. So thank you guys. This has been a great session with Pete from Ford today. I'm at the Ford Safety Roadshow at Wanutama today. So do visit the roadshow. It's available today until this weekend. So make sure, if you like this video, do give us a thumbs up, leave comments down below if you have any questions, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Once again, my name is Warren and this is Pete from Ford, and we'll see you again in our next video.